Welcome back to the league that means nothing on Go Again Gaming.
Welcome back to another fantastic round of Flesh and Blood action here on the League That Means Nothing on the Go Again Gaming channel. My name is Kiki, and I am from the Pitch Perfect podcast, and I am super excited to bring to you a fantastic game between two of my favorite heroes from all across Flesh and Blood history. We have Florian, as piloted by Justin, and then we have Dorinthea, as piloted by Jaden. So, for those who may or may not know a little bit about me, I played Florian at Worlds in 2024, and Dorinthea was one of the first heroes I picked up way back in 2019. So I'm super excited to see how these decks kind of go. This Florian build will have the Scepter and will be aiming for a little bit of a rune chant kind of focus with the Channel of the Millennium Tree. Meanwhile, I suspect this Dorinthea is going to be focusing on the classic sort of gameplay with the Dawnblade and putting counters on there. Now, of course, I don't have any access to deck lists, so I don't know what the decks are going to fully kind of go for in this matchup until I see it. I'm going to be watching it live, so let's just get into it and see how it goes, I reckon.
Today's game for the League That Means Nothing is brought to you by local game shop Void Games out of Crewe in Cheshire, United Kingdom. Focusing on trading card games, of course, Flesh and Blood being the favourite, and of course a lot of organised play there going down for all of your favourite games, casual and competitive. So make sure you go drop them a like on Facebook. That's Void Games. Cheers, Tom.
Okay, yes, and we are into the game. As I mentioned, we have the Florian with the Scepter of Pain. I think that's what it's called. And then, of course, we have the Dorinthea with the Dawnblade on the right-hand side, going first on turn 0, pitching what appears to be a Blade Flurry, attacking for 3 currently. Now, I say currently, of course, because these Dorinthea decks can sort of surprise you and kind of go over the damage as we expect. The Florian deck, I imagine, will be quite defensive. So I imagine there will be some defense reactions going on here. And here we see another Blade Flurry, this Dawnblade coming in now for 5. And here we have the first defense reaction. This is a Shelter from the Storm, an absolute powerhouse of defense reaction from the Hunted. In this case, it's being used as a 0/4/4. And as we see a little arsenal here, we're going to get a little Roots of the Forest action here, discarding to gain 2 resources. And let's just have a quick little chat about the equipment we see on both sides. Kind of to be expected, I guess. We see the Face Purgatory, the Barkskin of the Millennium Tree, the Well-Grounded, and the, of course, Grasp of the Arknight on the Florian side. And is this another Fruits of the Forest before we go on to the turn? Yep. And here we have Thistle Bloom Life. So this one this is in the own turn. Thistle Bloom creates X rune chants where X is the total number of life you've gained this turn, and of course life is gain 1 life. So we're going to be making 3 rune chants here. Off this 1 yellow, getting another earth card in the discard pile. Very crucial for the decomposes we may see later on in the game. But for the meantime, Justin is content to just arsenal a card and draw 4 with the 3 rune chants up. Going back to Jaden. Jaden looking very much to be on the offensive here. He has 1 point of Arcane Barrier with a Null Rune Hood, followed by the Courage of Bladehold, Brave Forge Bracers, and the Refraction Bolters. And we're starting this off with Unsheathed. So your next sword this attack this turn gets +3 and when this attacks. If its attack is greater than twice its base, then again go again. And we're giving Warrior's Valor as well, which is an action to give +3, and of course if this hits, go again. So it's going to get to go again regardless. Whether it's going to be able to attack the second time or not is all dependent on whether this Dawnblade hits. So for those who are unfamiliar, when the Dawnblade hits, if it's the second time this turn, put a +1 counter on it. But of course this only has once per turn as the attack action. So we need ways to let it attack twice, and that's where the hero ability comes in, where when this hits, you may attack with it again. But we're getting a defense reaction here. This is a reduced rune chant. Usually this costs 1, well, almost actually never, because if you control a rune chant, it costs less for each rune chant you control. So this one gets a reduction of 3, going down to 0, obviously, and it creates a rune chant upon playing it, and then we're getting a sync below as well, so we're defending this out for 10 full damage here, with an earth card being used in the block. Are we getting a reaction to go over the top of this? Maybe take another card out of Justin's hand? Or did Justin correctly read the amount of damage? Or we're getting another pitch. 2 resources being used. 3 resources being used. For an overpower blue. This is giving an additional 4 power on top of this. So now the Stormblade's coming in for 13 with 10. We're going to need to see another defense reaction. Otherwise, the Stormblade is going to hit and then threaten that second swing. Yeah, I can't read the dice there, but I'm almost certain that says 13. And we're just confirming how much damage is going through. And we are attacking again, this time for 3. Now, will Justin be happy to give up a second card here? He does have the full fridge here as well. So not a huge deal, but we are happy to block with the truce here for 3, knowing that Jaden has no cards left available to him. And that is the end of the turn. A little bit of damage leaking through, but that crucial counter not joining the battlefield at this moment. It'll be interesting to see what Justin chooses to do with his hand here, whether he chooses to use the scepter to try to get more rune chants, or if he's just going to arsenal that because it's like a defense reaction or something. Looks like we're getting an arsenal here, and we're going back 4 cards to Justin, 4 cards to Jaden, 5 cards to Justin. And we're going to need to keep on seeing these big, huge turns from Jaden to kind of get through like the defensive powerhouse that Justin is. Doing a cheeky little graveyard check to see how many earth cards we have there for the decompose. Maybe suggests that we're looking at a carapace here for the decompose. Or maybe a defense reaction. Not defense reaction, an offensive card like a felling. But we're getting another unsheathed here. So this Stormblade is attacking for 6 with go again. Pitching an unsheath as well. This looks like a low resource turn. I suspect we're going to see maybe an arsenal here if this first attack doesn't go through. We're getting the first equipment being committed to the defending chain. Here. And there we are. There is the rootbound carapace. The checking the graveyard. A little bit of a tell, but you know, it's important to make sure we know what we're doing here. It'll be interesting to see if we're going for 3 earth cards, or if we're going to get that truce in the decompose as well and just be settling for 2, keeping the graveyard a little bit more stocked for future decomposes. Just having a quick look in the hand. While we do this, did I go over the equipment for the warrior? I think I did, actually. So there we go. There's 2 earths and that truce. Going to the decompose, so we're now defending for 7 on 6. 2 cards in Jaden's hand, and he looks like he's content with that. Really wants to set up an arsenal to have a turn bigger than just 4 cards. Like, we can get through 4 cards defensively as the Florian player. The 5 is where we start to push, and can actually start getting that damage over that defensive cap we're seeing. But this does leave Justin with 2 cards in hand, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 3 cards in hand. Oh yeah, of course, we defended for 6 because that was an equipment plus the defense reaction. That's on me. But it looks like with 3 cards, we could be contemplating a little bit of a bigger turn here. Try to apply a little bit of pressure back. A bit of pressure back. We are getting Felling of the Crown, pitching a Command and Conquer and an Autumn's Touch, setting up that pitch stack maybe for the end of the game there. 1 resource remaining, 4 rune chants coming in, followed by the decompose trigger. Of course, the decompose occurs after the rune chants, so you know, you may want to see how your opponent chooses to respond to the rune chants before you commit to the decompose. Although I would be surprised if we don't see the decompose happening here this turn. 4 rune chance coming through, and Jaden chooses to take it. And here we are getting the decompose. I have to imagine we're seeing 3 earth cards. Now, I don't even know if we have a choice, to be honest. A lot of defense reactions so far. Yeah, we don't have a choice, that's true. There's 3 earth cards right there. Now triggering the felling of the crown's sync effect, if we want to call it that. Yep, 5 cards. That's what the purple dice is signifying there. 5 cards in the banish zone, 5 earth cards. And we're seeing a second Command and Conquer going to the bottom of Justice deck, and 1 card going to Jaden's. Couldn't see it on the camera. And we are getting in for 8 big points of damage here. Cheeky 12 damage turn. Have to be pretty happy with that. There's a sink below, so we've passed the defense step. And we are sinking again, trying to craft a hand maybe. Maybe find more defense reactions to block this. But this was unfortunate for Jaden, who really wanted to have a 5-card hand in this turn. And isn't going to get it. Just straight up isn't getting that 5-card hand turn this turn. There is another sink below though, so that is the full 8 damage blocked out. Defended out, using correct terminology. And now we've got a little 3-card hand action on Jaden's side. Not where you want to be, just really want to emphasize that you want all 5 cards to really push the damage here. But at least we have a blue in hand, so there's pitching a blue. What are we doing with that? And that is the Dawn Blade, coming in for 3 again. Kind of. But we are using a Haunting Rendition to block that for 4, not using the effect there. Very happy to just block that out and keep 3-card hand here. Going back into Justin's turn. Oh, is this another felling of the crown I see? Yes, it is. We're pitching a blue once again. Coming in for 8 damage. I can't remember if there's actually enough to decompose this. I don't think there is, so we're just very happy coming in for 8 damage. Taking 2 cards out of hand. Looks like red and... I'm not sure what color Overpower was. But if it was a red, then I can imagine the turn didn't seem big enough for Jaden's liking. Again, going for a 3-card turn. Pitching a blue once again. And this time we're going in with a Dauntless. So this one gives +3. And defense, the next defense reaction added to the chain costs an additional 1, which is a frustrating point for the Rune Blade here. I don't know if there's ways to pay for things in the opponent's turn in this Florian deck. So that's going to potentially cause some issues if his hand is loaded up with defense reactions. Although we have seen a lot of defense reactions already, so I would be kind of surprised if we see them here. There's another Haunting Rendition, defending for 4 against the 6. 2 damage kind of leaking through, but he's kind of okay with this at the moment, with only 1 more card in Jaden's hand. And of course, this doesn't have go again. Jaden could use the Refraction Bolters, should this hit, to force the issue. But it does mean that we'll be using it before we get that 1 point of defensive value from it. Which may or may not be big in the end of the game. But, if needs musts, right? Like, the Dorinthea player, Jaden, does want to pressure the hand and really want to threaten this this first counter, rather. We are getting a defense reaction here as well to go to 7, maybe 8? Maybe? Yeah, we are. Okay, and there was another defense reaction there as well, so there's a hugely well-timed Dauntless. I would have maybe be tempted to defend that previous felling with the Refraction Bolters, just so you can use it this turn. Take a little bit of damage and then really start forcing the issue with the attack reactions defended with. But perhaps he wants to go for a slower game. Like, he is forcing Justin to defend a lot, and could maybe be trying to go for something a bit fatiguey. Maybe. But for now, there's a 9 life point difference between the two heroes, with 1 card in hand for Justin, with a card in the arsenal. And here we're seeing the Scepter of Pain. This is a Germinate's being pitched. Now, of course, this is pre-bans, this game is, so we do see the Scepter, we do see the Germinate. Obviously not legal at this point by the time you'll be watching this. But for this event, totally legal. We're getting the AB1 on the Scepter. We don't want more rune chants there. That makes reduce the rune chant. Or is that the name of the card? It makes a defense reaction with the rune chants cost 0. So we're trading 1 card for potentially 1 card there. Yeah, but it looks like, again, just happy to keep his life total high, respect his life total bit, and keep on swinging with this Dawnblade to try to achieve a fatigue state. Here we have a Warrior's Valor in yellow, giving +2, so this Dawnblade is coming in for 5 damage, with potential go again on hit. Guaranteed go again on hit, even. Looks like we're contemplating maybe another defense reaction, or just trying to plan out the next turn. Maybe Justin's thinking about how many cards he has to defend this with. Maybe if he has a turn, if he defends with 3 cards here. But he looks like he's willing to let this first attack go, and then going to try to block out the second attack that doesn't have the +2 bonus on it. And yeah, we're getting a... what is it? We're getting a Brave Forge Braces activation to get this next attack +1, coming in for 4 with no resources remaining. The only card Justin has to play around here is a potential Iron Song response from the arsenal. Am I lying to you? I am lying to you. There's 1 resource. There's a few more reactions that Justin has to worry about here. But, you know, functionally has to worry about this going up to 7, most likely. 8, if there's another Iron Song response in the arsenal. But we're getting a big defense here. That is the bark skin of the Millennium Tree? Yes, I got the name right. Which creates an Earth Embodiment token when it defends. And of course, with Florian's hero ability being live, it actually creates 2 of them. So we're getting 2 defense from the bark skin of the Millennium Tree, and this Arcane Seeds is defending for 5, meaning that we're defending this for a total of 7. So yeah, he's prepared for that 7 breakpoint I was talking about, not playing around the Singing Steelblade, and looking like he didn't need to play around the Singing Steelblade there. So, well defended there. Correctly called the number. And that's kind of what you need to do against Dorinthea. Like, there's a lot of times you need to know when to take the damage, what your defending numbers are like, and what your opponent's offensive numbers are like, and when to take those risks. Like, that's all huge, kind of good gameplay that you get from 2019 that still carries on to this day, and we've got the big tree. So, here we go, we've pitched 2 blues to this, the Scepter of Pain coming in for 4 arcane damage, and then creates a rune chant for each damage dealt this way, which is huge. AB1 on the other side means that 3 rune chants will be coming through. And there we go. There's the rune chant, and we're sure we're going to get dice on there. That seems like too many rune chants. No, of course, the hero ability. No, never mind. I have to admit, as a Florian gamer, I was very much a Reaping Blade kind of channel mount heroic kind of situation, so I'm, you know, this stuff is still kind of new to me here, but, you know, we're very clearly using the channel trigger there on the tree. Very nice and clear. Of course, it didn't really matter. It was literally the same card as far as I'm aware. But nonetheless, we have 4 rune chants on the field, 4 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal, and Jaden with a 3-card hand plus the arsenal. Pitching the blue, we're getting a Warrior's Valor here. Cheeky little peek at the hand, and coming in for 6 with potential go again, and of course the Dorinthea on hit as well. And what I really like about how Jaden's playing this game, like, in terms of like the physical mechanics, is that he's clearly showing how many cards are in his hand and arsenal at all times when doing these attacks, knowing very much that the Dorinthea's combat is, or the specific chain links, are the key points of interaction in this deck. So we're doing a quick decompose check, once again implying that there could be a root-bound carapace in hand here to defend this, which we may or may not need, who knows. But currently the breakpoints are on the even 3s at the moment, so maybe Justin's okay. He might be wondering whether to defend this out for 9 or 12, but he could also be, again, tempted to just take this first hit. Nope, he's going to try to defend this out. We are getting the 1 block defense value from the bark skin, the 6 points of defensive value total because of the 2 earth embodiments plus the arcane seeds. So we are now defending this for an even 6. Justin with 3 cards in hand, and also still with the access to Well Grounded. So there we have the Iron Song response. This has gone up to 9. We had to know there was some sort of trick coming here. And there's still the 1 resource remaining here. This suggests to me that maybe that the defense reaction on the arsenal won't be a 1 cost, because he will want to still attack with a sword after this should this hit. Or maybe he's just content to get the damage through. He still hasn't used the Braveforge. It's not the Braveforge braces, sorry, the Refraction Bolters to defend with. But that's not what he needs to do right now anyway. We are thinking, however, about a Well Grounded. So, of course, this would increase the defensive number to 8, preventing 2 of that, which still isn't enough for this Iron Song response to kind of get through. So maybe he's just gonna take 3 damage. Yep, he's taking 3 damage here, expending some resources, and just trying to maximize this bark skin by trying to be able to block in multiple combat chains, perhaps. And here we're coming in for 3. Justin seems to want his hand, because we're defending here for 1 and using the Well Grounded here, which is a key piece of equipment to stop the reaction shenanigans or to play around reprise. So this defense here, he might have suspected that there was in fact another Iron Song response in Arsenal. That's the only reaction that Jaden could have played there, realistically, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, great, again, defensive masterclass, a showcase. Really knowing what threats Jaden could have there. And going back into Justin's turn, he used his equipment, so he's got 5 cards in hand, and I think that's a plow under an arsenal. On hand, rather. But we are saving that for later in the game. We're just going for an Autumn's Touch here. 6 damage, with the Rune Chance coming in as well. Oh, and of course this is 2 Earth cards, so we're keeping that tree around for a whole nother turn. So we have 4 damage, followed by 3 instances of 1, and then 6 damage for a total of 13 damage. Just absolutely huge comeback here. No on-hits threatened, but the life is being threatened. Jaden sneakily showing us that there's a bunch of blues in hand, which, you know, in terms of trying to stop this turn, super useful. In terms of trying to apply pressure back after this turn, not so useful. So we're getting the double block here on the Autumn's Touch. That plow under remaining there for a future turn. We still get to keep the arsenal. There's Justin. And Jaden also gets to keep his, but only has 1 card in hand to kind of do something with it here. Pitching a Blue Warrior's Valor. We are coming in for 3 with the Dawnblade. We're going to be saying that a lot this game. We're going to be saying coming in with the Dawnblade. I've yet to see an attack action in Jaden's deck. We could see one perhaps later on in regards to Nourishing Emptiness, potentially, which is a super powerful card in the decks that don't play attack actions. One thing we've yet to see or talk about as well, there hasn't really been a point for it to come up, is the Face Purgatory is a super powerful way to just completely stunt a turn should that come out. You know, if they're going for Warrior's Valor with the Dawnblade for 6, you can maybe use it to get rid of the last reaction on their hand, and because it happens in the defense step, of course, it's before they can actually use the reaction. But we're getting the Decompose here. It just appears to be a yellow one, just blocking an even 3, getting rid of 3 Earth cards, the 2 equipment pieces, and the Arcane Seeds. But here we are, defending for 3, again from Arsenal, so if that is an Iron Song response in Arsenal, then Jaden can't use it there. And I'd almost be tempted to just kind of force them to use the Iron Song response there, to be honest. Block with 1 card in hand, see what happens. You take 3 damage, okay. No resources ahead. But here we have the Grasp of the Arknight to make the range shot this time. Making sure we're getting the most from this. Are we going to see a triple Earth Pitch here? No, but we're going to see an Arcane Seeds. So this is going to make 4 more Rune Chants here. We have 6 Rune Chants in play, and we're getting a life. You know, the upside of running this build is you can always choose the life mode, and it's always okay. And we're getting a huge attack here. Once again, similar to last turn, this is coming in for 4, plus 5 instances of 1, and then 6 damage for a grand total of 15 damage. That's huge. We're getting 2 blues again. Jaden having the blues at the right time prevents 1 from each of those sources of arcane damage, so 3 of it still comes through. And we're still looking at 6 damage on top of this, but at least that tree is going to be gone for now. Oh, sorry, 4 damage. That's a blue. My bad. So take back the 15 number. Let's not over-exaggerate. Just 13 damage. We're getting a defense for 3. I think that's an out for blood being defended with. And the tree is finally gone. An Arsenal Justin's hand. And Jaden, again, 1 card hand, 1 card in Arsenal. Justin's just done a great job of applying the pressure and kind of forcing Jaden on the back foot. Didn't quite catch what that Arsenal card was there. But we do have a Dawnblade coming in for 3 with no resources floating. And there's a Shelter from the Storm again, stifling this potential Iron Song response that we suspect is in the graveyard at Arsenal at this point. Hard to tell when it was just a red pitch there, but I suspect that's what Justin thinks is in Jaden's Arsenal. Just really trapping it there. And of course, you can just play the Iron Song response for no effect. But oh my goodness, we're going for another Decompose here, it looks like. Just confirming that we have enough, but yep, there we go. 2 Earth cards, 1 action card. Plowunder finally getting rid of that Arsenal before Jaden could even play it. It feels like, you know, he's been trying to force the issue with this defense react. Nope, sorry. He's trying to force the issue with this Arsenal, making sure that it's unplayable, and now it's just definitely unplayable. With this going away, we're getting 6 damage, but Jaden decides it's finally time to use some equipment. We're defending for 3. There's no on-hits here. So this is purely a sign that this might be the kind of time that we're going to be using these cards. Or maybe Jaden just wants to use these now, get the value off them. Like, I'd be surprised if he wants to use these on a 4-card turn. But that's what we're doing here. We're using them on a 4-card turn. Courage of the Blade Hold is cracked. The Dawnblade costs 0. But we're spending 1 resource to play. Oh, okay, this is the now or never kind of turn. This is the now or never kind of turn. We have a double Steelblade Supremacy here. This is coming in for 7 damage with 1 card left in hand. Although that 1 card left in hand, if this is the Face Purgatory turn, then this is huge. He's absolutely shut this down. He gets to draw an extra card, so he still gets to keep 3 cards in hand after the situation. And completely just stop this Iron Song response. Oh, sorry, these Iron Song determinations from doing anything. This stops Jaden from having an Arsenal, and yeah. He had almost everything. But unfortunately, that Face Purgatory hadn't been cracked yet. And he's now used up 2 of the 3 Iron Song determinations. Is that what that card's called? Sorry. This is Steelblade Supremacy. He's used 2 Steelblade Supremacies there. Iron Song Determination, funnily enough, would have been fantastic there to stop the Face Purgatory from being live. But instead, we've given up 2 Steelblade Supremacies and the Courage of Blade Hold to get Face Purgatory. What an absolutely powerhouse of a defensive headpiece that is. And oh my god, we're going for Channel the Millennium Tree again. I have to suspect we're seeing the Scepter again. Yep, there we go. So, 4 arcane damage with only AB1. At least 3's coming in, and then we're getting, again, 4 more Rune Chants. huge. Again, I haven't really played this variant of Florian, so like I haven't experienced this firsthand, and I'm kind of jealous that I won't get the chance to be honest. This looks sick. But we're getting the arsenal. 4 cards in hand. Jaden with 3 cards in hand. No arsenal because of that face purgatory, staring down a big tree. And I'm not talking caution. We're looking at a lot of blues in hand there. Don't know what that is being pitched. It's obviously a blue. And we're coming in, I believe, for 6. I think that was a red Warrior's Valor. Jaden looking at 1 card in hand, knowing that he can't get face purgatoried again. And Justin, again, just trying to think about what's the best way to defend this. Does he want to defend this for 9? Does he want to defend this for 6? We've seen 2 Singing Steel Blades now, I believe. So probably doesn't need to play around that extra 4th point of damage with the Singing Steel Blade here. So a clean 9 could do it. He could also just like take this 6 and then defend the next one for 6. Just to kind of... But, you know, he's pretty far ahead. He may not need to. There's a defense for 3. And yeah, Justin's content with taking the 3 damage there. Going for another Dawnblade here. And with no resources to activate the Brave Forge Braces, this is just coming in for 3. And is he taking this as well? Surely not. With 3 cards in hand. Oh, no, he takes it. Going down to 30, this Dawnblade gets the first counter of the game, but with Justin on 30 life and happily taking this damage, like, this is kind of scary if you're Jaden. Like, what are we looking down here? Obviously, there's a tree in play. But what else could we be looking at in this scenario? We're doing the graveyard check. I have to suspect this is the 3rd felling of the crown here. There we go. And we're pitching 2 earth cards as well for this felling. 2 resources remaining. So here we go. This is... Sorry. This is 4, and then 3 instances of 1, and then 8 damage with a card being sunk to the bottom on Jaden's behalf. So there we go. There's a blue being pitched to prevent some of the arcane damage. 3 of the 7. But we're still looking at 8 damage here. Most likely. Yep, there's the Decomposer. We're still looking at 8 damage and losing another card from hand. So damage will be leaked this turn. Well, damage has already been leaked this turn, but more damage will be leaked this turn. This has been relentless. I think Jaden might be... I don't know if he was having a check on how thick his deck is left, or if he's just trying to remember what's left in the deck as threats. But we are looking at a 30 to 11 life point lead, and that tree's sticking around for a whole nother turn. We're getting the channel there, followed by the pitcher into the bottom. 4 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal, and there is very little on Jaden's side left. He is just drawing up, it seems. With Florian firmly ahead in this position. What's happening? I'm just checking the arsenal again. We are activating the Grasp of the Arcanite, pitching a non-earth card. So, if there's any consolation, this probably won't last past this turn. That looks like a 9th blade. Are we just hard pitching for this? Pitching 2 more cards to play this 9th blade? That's not 9th blade. What is that card? Oh, it's an erased face. I don't know why I thought that was a 9th blade. There's a huge amount of text or art on that card. And this is an erased face with 2 resources remaining. Maybe there's a pummel. Unlikely, but maybe there's a pummel. But there is 5 points of arcane, plus 6 damage coming through. I don't believe the Dorinthea cards specify warrior, so I think it'll be okay in regards to, like, the on-hit from this. But the on-hit is pretty close to death. Like, this is actually presenting lethal if none of this is stopped. Now, of course, there is ways to stop some of this damage. There's the RPs, which hasn't been used to defend with yet. There's cards in hand. But, like, Jaden's getting worn out by this constant barrage of big attacks plus big arcane damage coming through. And it's kind of just unstoppable. I'm really glad that this is this card last played thing, because I would have not recognized that as a raised face. So we've taken the 5 points of arcane. We're taking, at this point, 4 points of physical damage from this erased face. Oh my god, I thought he had the pummel there for a second. But instead, I think that's a Sigil of Solace, gaining 3 life. Again, the upside of not playing Reaping Blade in this scenario. I mean, I've seen other upsides from this scepter. Mainly, like, absurd amounts of arcane damage is the upside we've seen from this scepter, right? Yeah, so we are going back to Jaden's turn. There is a Sharpened Steel, an Iron Song. Sorry, I just said this name before. Steelblade Supremacy. And we are getting in for 11 damage with 1 resource remaining, 1 card in hand. This has to be the last make or break moment for Jaden. Like, if he's to get in this game, this turn has to be huge. And if if Justin fully blocks this out, like, Jaden will have more turns, but it's going to be a huge climb. It's going to be a huge climb as is if this turn even pops off. We're looking at a literal 31 life deficit right now. Like, absolutely a huge points differential. Sorry, that's basketball. Life point differential. Okay, so we're looking at 11 points of damage. Potentially 14, maybe 15 at worst. Can this be stopped? And, like, this is also the 3rd Steel Blade Supremacy. So Justin won't have to worry about this card again afterwards. Looks like Justin was happy to let it hit. He's like, you're on 2. Like, I don't know what you're going to do about this. But here's Refraction Bolters. And we're going to swing again. Let's see how much for, though. So, coming in for 5. 2 cards in hand, no cards in arsenal. I believe. 1 card in arsenal? It's just sideways? No cards in arsenal. Now, if you took the first one, you're maybe tempted to take the second one again. Or I guess, you can block out this one. This one's a bit smaller. There's a defense for 5 here with a 9th blade, an actual 9th blade, and a face purgatory. Nope, not face purgatory. Erase face. But we're getting red overpower here for plus 6 damage, so this is coming in for another 11. Defending 5 currently. Do we see a defense reaction here? Probably not the card that I just expected to see here. Is this the comeback of Indiana, like, fame? Are we coming back and closing the gap? If you're a Knicks fan, I'm sorry for bringing that up again. But, okay, we're doing a quick graveyard and banish check. Just really making sure that we know what threats we have left in our deck. We're doing a deck count here. 5, 10, 15, 24. So 24 plus 2 cards in hand and 1 card in arsenal. We're looking at 27 cards on Justin's side. At a guess, if I'm looking at Jaden's deck, probably somewhat similar. There's a chance he kind of went higher than 60. I don't think so. I don't see why you would. It's not like this is a particularly fatigue strategy. I was hunched over. I'm sorry about that. But we're still pretty far away from either player sort of hitting the fatigue state at the moment. But Justin's close. Like, if he doesn't outright win the game in a future turn, like, he's going to be taking almost every card out of Jaden's hand, if not every card out of Jaden's hand every turn from now. Unless, of course, he gets famously Runebladed, which is a thing that Runeblades can do, where they draw all non-attack actions and forget how to attack. There's a Germinate in hand, so there's a blue at least. Yeah, the downside of like a version like Justin's deck here is that we can't do the Grasp Reaping Blade 1 card 5, which is super efficient at like grinding the game out and getting to that fatigue state. Like, deck suggests to me that we're not trying to get to the fatigue state here. Looks like we've taken the 6 damage from this overpowered Dawnblade. We've got another card draw to Arsenal here, and we'll be getting the second counter on... Whoa! We'll be getting this... I keep saying second counter. We'll be getting the first counter on Dawnblade here. I believe. It did hit twice, so here's hoping that Jaden remembers to put that counter on there, because that's going to be instrumental in, like, these comebacks. There we go. We need that 4-point play. But yeah, we're just content with dealing 1 point of arcane damage here. I suspect he's got a bunch of defense reactions here, maybe. Does Jaden want to just take this? No. At 2 life, he does not want to take 50% of his life total in 1 hit. And of course, provide more rune chance. So, right, of course. There we go. Okay, so Sigil of Sloths, they're gaining 3 more life, which is why he couldn't block out that other attack. But it's 19-2. And Jaden showing us that he's got a mix of reds and blues in hand. Thanks for letting us know. There's that Iron Song Determination that I kept on bringing up earlier, despite not knowing card names. But we have Dominate. This sword is going to be huge. It's not getting Go Again this turn, but it is coming in for a whole bunch of damage. Oh, it does have Go Again. Sorry, excuse me. I don't know what I'm talking about. So this is 4 plus 3 plus 1. This is 8 damage with Dominate. And of course, you have to kind of use the pumps here, because if you only get this to 4, you know you don't have the reactions here. So that oval, I don't remember the name of the oval, but the offhand shield could get in the way with a 3 defense card just to stop that 4. So going to 8, the correct number here for sure. Ensuring that we're getting at least 1 hit and retaining the counters, unless of course there's a defense reaction in Arsenal. Waiting the Sink Below from hand. And is it just the Sink Below from hand? Maybe not. We're peeking. We are having a look. And we are paying for a reduced rune chant here. Just to make sure that we are not getting the hit here. And also we're getting 2 rune chants. So, you know, those 2 rune chants presenting lethal in the following turn, providing that Justin has an attack here. But this Dawnblade has been stopped in its entirety, in its tracks. That Dominate, not quite enough there to keep the counter on the sword, and it is back down to 3 with a 17 life point differential, staring him down. And Justin's like, again, how do you feel about 50% of your life going down to arcane damage? And Jaden's not about it. Pitching that Steelblade Shunt, which, you know, isn't the most efficient card in this matchup. You can do some neat tricks with it, actually. Like, if you prevent those 2 points of arcane damage, you can then use the last 1 remaining to defend, like, a bigger attack, assuming it's not a Command and Conquer. But we are getting ground out a little bit here. That's a blue being pitched for a Dawnblade for 3 with 2 cards in hand. Let me know if you've heard that before. There's a Command and Conquer defending for 3. Which would have been a good card. Literally just talked about a line with it. Here's a Glint the Quicksilver to draw a card. Reprise is turned on, so that's where the card's coming from. Now, are we going to be able to go over the top here? And there's an Iron Song response. Coming in for 3 more, so now we're getting in for 6. Forcing a defense reaction, which we're not going to see from Justin's side. The gates might be open for Jaden to come back into this. 1 resource going into the Dawnblade, coming in for 4 this time, threatening that counter once again. 2 cards in hand? 1 card in hand. I can't tell. I should be able to figure this out. 1 card in hand. Now, if you're Jaden, do you defend 6 on here to prevent that counter? Do you keep your hands to try to swing back for lethal? Like, you want to make sure that you're actually still attacking here. You're so close to the finish line. It looks like we had a little camera cut there. Unsure what happened. Maybe there's a little error on the recording side. We are getting a defense for 3 on this Dawnblade for 4. Choosing not to use oval there just to stop the second counter guaranteed. Maybe saving that for the next turn after this. Like, going for a huge turn here, forcing cards out of the hand, and then using the oval on the next turn. That is probably the vibe here. Are we pitching 4 to activate the grasp? We are pitching 4. There are 2 resources remaining. And we have 4 rune chants now. And a scepter. For 1 more point of arcane damage. And using the blue once again to prevent 3 points of arcane suggests to me that Jaden has another blue in hand. This could be the Tyrese Halliburton catch-up that we've been eagerly anticipating, I guess. We're getting another deck check count. 10. 15. I think 16 plus the 5 in hand. I think that's 21 cards. Is Justin running out of attacks? He did choose to defend with 2 Command and Conquers in the previous turn. That's 2 attacks that could have triggered some rune chants there. Here's another Iron Song Determination. Really determined to keep the counters on this. And there's a Trot Along to give this base attack 3 go again. So this is coming in for 4 with go again. On hit, it can attack for a second time. I haven't been doing a defense reaction check. Has he run just now defense reactions? Maybe? I suspect not, but it's probably close, if I had to guess. But yeah, Jaden here just explaining, I assume, the situation. What Justin's facing right now. And this is where the oval could come in clutch. He could use 3 and 1 here to stop the Dawnblade and just stop this turn altogether, assuming there's no reaction. Or if there is a reaction, maybe he has the defense reaction to go over the top of that as well. 2 resources, I believe the most that these Dorintheas can kind of go on 1 card with 2 resources is 4, although there could be a route. And if there's a route, that's kind of big. Especially if the oval gets used here. So that is something you do have to consider, is route. Of course, if you route here, then there won't be enough resources to attack again, so there won't be a second counter, this time correctly saying second counter. And instead, it'll just be retaining that counter and damage will get through, and Justin will have a 3-card hand. So Jaden doing everything he can to keep a grasp on this game. Fighting valiantly, as one would expect from a warrior from Solana. And the blocking decisions have gotten a lot harder here. Oh, that's a Blade Fury. That's absolutely massive. So now we're going in for 6 damage. There's the defense reaction from hand. Do we have defense reaction from Arsenal as well? We're sink below. Trying to find something here. I don't know if I miscounted the damage or something, but it looks like 3 damage went through there. 4 plus... Oh, of course, it's 5 plus 2. That's on me. Okay, so that was 7 damage. And here we go. Here's a Dawn Blade for 6 with the Dominate. And we are potentially getting that second counter here now. Oh, this is for 7 again because of the Courage of Blade Hold. Not Courage of Blade Hold. Brave Forge Braces. This is looking very Andrew Nemhart for 3. There's a Plow Under in hand. That might just be the attack that Justin needs. If he can just defend this with 1 card, come back for 10 damage, that forces a lot of cards out of Jaden's hand. 3 of them. Yeah. It will force 3 cards out of Jaden's hand, 1 card to being pitched to 3 of the arcane damage, taking 1, and then 2 being put in front of this. Or even if it's like a Steel Blade Shunt, like, you know, you have to let this through if you're Justin, so you can get in with this Plow Under. And you don't need to decompose it, there's no arsenal to worry about, so you get to keep your arsenal card. But crucially, you just get 3 cards out of Jaden's hand. You can then block 2 cards on the Dawn Blade to make sure that counter goes away, and then you can be back in the driver's seat again. But like this, the grasp on the game was kind of slipping there. Nearly got Rune Bladed out by his deck being unable to attack. I think Justin here is asking for a quick graveyard check, seeing if there's anything that is of concern here, something that blocks above value. There's 2 Sink Belows there that were used in the felling much earlier in the game. So that looks like it's the only 0-cost defense reaction in the deck. So I guess if you pitch a blue... You still have to give 3 cards, though. So... Oh, there's just a 9th blade? That's much bigger than the Plow Under. Okay. So... Pitching 5 resources to play this 9th blade. This is coming in for 4 and 9, and I think... Excuse me. This can be defended out. In theory. Not even in theory. This can be defended out if there is a blue in Jaden's hand and 3 cards that defend for 3. But the writing very much feels on the wall here. This is the play that Justin was like building towards, I guess, right? Like instead of going for those Command and Conquer plays I was thinking of earlier, he was like, I want to close the game out with this 9th blade. There's another little camera cut, little movie magic. Okay, we're pitching a blue. Yep, that's swirling around, preventing 3 of the arcane points. And 1 point of arcane damage coming through. 3 cards in hand. Does he have 3/3 blocks? I have to suspect. Nope, he has 2 3 blocks and a 4 block. So 10 damage defending all this. Justin does not have to worry about Sink Below anymore. Doesn't have to worry about Jaden having a hand. That counter's going away. There's very little for him to worry about. Moving back to Justin's turn. Jaden draws 4 cards. What do we see here? Justin just trying to figure out the most efficient way to deal damage to take cards out of Jaden's hand. I believe I've seen all 3 trees because 1 was blocked with and 2 of them were played. So we won't be seeing a 3rd tree to close the game out. We're finishing this game on hard mode. And of course, the game's not over yet. All it takes is 1 hand where Justin can't attack and then Jaden's suddenly back in this. We are pitching a blue for Grasp of the Arcanite, making 2 rune chants. It's a good start. Oh. There we go. This is the opening that Jaden needed. Looks like Justin didn't have an attack here. He could have defense react. Oh, there was an attack there if he wanted. But we are preventing the 1. And again, Justin content on playing the slow game to grind this out, not worried about trying to get cards out of Jaden's hand and trying to fatigue him. He wants to make sure this next attack will outright win the game on the spot. But does Jaden... will he have a chance to attack again is the next question. Because Jaden's coming in with 3 or 2 cards in hand and 2 resources. This is presenting potentially 9 damage. I don't think all 3 Iron Song responses in red have been used. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though. So, like, if I could have a better memory, I could tell you. But that's why I'm on commentary and not playing the game right now. But there was 1 Iron Song response there. There's a glistening... glint the Quicksilver, rather. Justin just wanting to check to see what threats are remaining in the deck. And there are still definitely threats at this point. Defending for 3 here. Here's a glint the Quicksilver to draw a card. The damage is still 3. And here's the Sinking Steelblade. Moving this up to 4. The Reprise trigger online. Is he going to find a 0 cost reaction here? This is classic Dorinthea gaming here. I don't know if the video is frozen. Nope. We're just looking off camera. Okay, never mind. Jaden just really making sure that there's still enough like damage on the deck to take this game out. Maybe he's thinking about route as an option. Because the route could be big here. Especially if that's a blue in hand. You can play the route, bounce this, come in for 8 damage, force a reaction, and then still attack with a sword. For... if that's a blue in hand. For another 4 damage because of Brave Forge braces. We're looking for another glint the Quicksilver here. He's going to try to draw another card. This suggests to me that maybe he is out of damage at this point. We've cut the deck. Glint's going in the combat chain. Drawing an extra card. So we're now looking at 2 cards, and this is leaking over 1 damage, passing the reaction window. And here's a shelter being discarded to prevent 1 damage. And here's a puncture, giving it +3, so this attack is coming through for extra damage. Is there another defense reaction here? And there is. So, Rootbound Carapace defending 4 here. So we're getting 8 damage blocking plus the 1 prevention. And we are looking at 3, 6, 7. There we go. That Shelter of the Storm preventing 0 damage, but also forcing another source of damage out of Jaden's deck. 2 cards in hand. Does he have enough to pitch and play a card? That deck is looking really thin for Jaden. No, we are again just choosing to make a rune chant and pass. 4 cards in hand. He's probably feeling comfortable. Like, Jaden had to find a Glint the Quicksilver off that Singing Steelblade. But he has left Jaden with 4 cards. There's 5, 10, 12, 16 cards available to Justin remaining in deck and hand. Jaden, I think, is something similar, but has a lot of blues left, I have to guess at this point. There's the truce. There's 3 blues in hand. There's not a truce. Here's the goblet of blood-run wine first and foremost, making the agility and the vigor token. And then here's the truce. Choosing not to attack here. Oh. Looks like we got some attacks in Justin's hand. He has been pitch stacking this game, but he's going for a Germinate. He really wants to make sure his last attack does, in fact, close the game out. So we're getting Germinate here. I believe X equals 2? No, is that 2 blues? Oh, there's 3 blues, rather? Okay, X equals more than 2. X is 4. X is 4. So we're getting a whole bunch of tokens here. He can give himself a bunch of, like, Earth Embodiments to make sure he can defend out the turn. And also some Rune Chants, of course. And he's also going to gain 5 life. It kind of puts the game out of contention here. He gets 2 Earth Embodiments and a whole bunch of Rune Chants. And gains 5 life. That kind of just puts the game away, potentially, at this point. Like, all he needs now is to draw 2 cards that block, a card that pitches, and a card that attacks, and the game should be over from there. The truce wasn't triggered, so both players gain 3 life. 15 to 4. I mean, that 3 extra life kind of helps the Rune Chants, but there were a lot more Rune Chants made than life gained that turn if you're Jaden. So this has to be it. This has to be the turn you go for the kill. We have 2 tokens cracking. We have a vigor and an agility. Yes, not quick and agility. So we have 1 resource floating. We have go again on the first attack played this turn. And here's a Dome Blade coming in for 3, 4 cards in hand. If you're Justin, you just hope you drew a non-attack action, maybe 2, to defend this out. That 15 life is kind of insurmountable to get past at this point. I don't know how many lines Jaden has left in this game to stay in it, but there's a truce on the opposite side. So we're defending for 5 here on 3. Jaden asks, do you have enough damage? There's a puncture, giving +3, so we're attacking for 6. And this does have go again. Pitching a blue. Was it a blue puncture? No, I think it's a red puncture. So, yeah, 6, if I'm reading that dice correctly. 1 point of damage coming through. Sword has go again and can attack for the 2nd time. Spending the resource to use the Brave Forge Braces. Coming in again for 4. Yep. Last resource used, 2 cards in hand. There's just not enough damage here for this to kill. We're playing out the Provoke, which forces a card out of Justin's hand. It either becomes a defending card if it's an action, or gets discarded if it's a non-action. So we're showing a non-action here. It's getting discarded. And Justin happy to take the 4 damage. Leaving 2 cards in hand. Like I mentioned, this has to be a pitch and an attack. And if it's a pitch and an attack, that could be the game. Most likely will be the game. Like, almost 100% will be the game. Unless there's something like an Iranian's Prayer or something that I'm not thinking about. But here we go. Here's the Summer's Fall. This is coming in for 12 damage, plus 6 physical. 18 damage turn. Justin asks, you have 4 life. Can you stop all of this? And I have to assume the answer is no. There is 12 resources being pitched. There's 1 card defending with, 5 damage still going over, and that is the game. So congratulations to Justin for taking out that game against Jaden playing Florian. Okay, so that was a grindy one. That was long. We saw a defensive masterclass as shown by Justin defending out key breakpoints on those attacks, making sure that he played around all the realistic kind of attack reactions there, right? Like he played to defend exactly 3 over, when in theory you could have gone 4 over just to like make sure the Stinging Steel Blade didn't kind of hit. But he figured, hey, like, I've already seen 2 of them or something, like, not likely to come out there. And yeah, he kind of pivoted his game plan. Like, he could have been more aggressive at the end, but he chose to, make sure his attacks were going to come in for lethal at the end of that game when he saw that the Singing Steel Blade found blues. So there were definitely parts of that game where it felt like Jaden was kind of making a comeback, kind of coming back into it with these big attacks, especially that big Steel Blade Supremacy turn, the second one where he had 1 of them. And that first one, was unfortunate that they kind of both came at the same time. Like, I think one of them would have forced the Face Purgatory anyway, but you're not keeping your hand through a Face Purgatory anyway, so he forced the issue there. And he knew what his game plan was. He just had to keep on working through all those defense reactions to make sure that eventually he would have a big enough turn and maybe he had a chance to claw back in. But ultimately, that huge 31 life point buffer that Justin gave himself at the start ended up being huge at the end of the game, where he could afford to play with his life a little bit more and sort of keep things out of range. So yeah, with that being said, that was round 1 of the League That Means Nothing here on Go Again Gaming. My name is Kiki from the Pitch Perfect podcast. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.